my name is David Recht, and welcome to the Crystal Temple. In this short video, I'm going to talk about the evolutionary process of man. And this might be a bit different than you've heard before. Today we're going to get into some esoteric principles, some deep understandings of man's path here on the planet, where we've come from, where we're going, what things have been in place to support mankind in his evolutionary process. We're not going to be talking about the standard things you might have heard with evolution, such as religious beliefs of evolution, or the Darwin theory and survival of the fittest. Today we're going to break completely new ground. It will be of a spiritual nature and a historical nature. The information I'll be bringing forth to you today comes from teachings I've received from the Modern Mystery School. You can find the Modern Mystery School at www.modernmysteryschool.com. My training, personally, for the last 20 years has been in alternative healing, metaphysics, and free energy technologies. And as director of this temple for the last 5 years, I've been serving full-time, doing light work for my fellow man, offering healing and spiritual training to all those who wish to partake of it. Let's get started on our topic of evolution. To understand how we evolve, first we must understand who and what we are as humans. Let's start with the name human itself. Hu is actually a prefix which means God. So if you break it down, human actually means God-man. This seems pretty telling in itself. And to understand that we are of a spiritual nature or a spiritual being, that there's something beyond our physical bodies is not too difficult. When you think, when you feel, and you have experiences, just how physical are those things? They don't seem to be of the same nature as the physical body that we live within. I would also say that science itself talks about the whole world being a sea of atoms bumping up against one another. In other words, just a whole sea of vibrational energy. And how much different is that from the religious views where they talk about God being everything, or a spiritual view talking about all that is, or a scientific view talking about the zero-point energy that exists everywhere. I would say that these are all one and the same, and it is just a matter of semantics and description, but they're all speaking of the same true thing that exists, just talking about it in different ways. So us as spiritual beings, meaning we have consciousness, we have life force, came here to this planet into a physical body to have an experience, to learn and grow. And as we came from spirit, as we came from God, you might say, our destiny is to return someday to spirit, to regain our godliness. So we're going to talk about this process of evolution that takes place between when we came from spirit and when we return to spirit or our godliness. What is it that takes place in this realm, this evolutionary process? To start with, we came here with a plan, a blueprint for how this would play out in this realm. This blueprint lays out everything that is going to take place. God has a plan. Spirit has a plan. We all together have a plan for this to take place. Many people talk about the nature of time and how time doesn't really exist in some ways, and yet in other ways it does. And that in the spiritual realm, you're beyond time. So in a way, we can say that really the outcome is known at some level, in some realm. This is all played out, and the outcome is already known. Just as everything came from one and returns to one, such as in the Big Bang Theory, time works this way too. That in some realm, everything is already set and happened. So the plan exists. And the question is, are we in alignment with that plan? How are we doing in our progression along that plan, back toward that oneness, back toward our empowerment as a spiritual being? Now, in this realm that we exist in, our consciousness is at a fairly low level, and we have trouble perceiving these higher realities. There are actually 12 different dimensions that we have projected our spirit down through, and our current consciousness level is on a third and fourth dimensional consciousness level. The first dimension being the consciousness of stones, rocks, or the physical matter. The second dimension being the consciousness of plants and animals. The third dimension and fourth dimension are the realm where human consciousness currently resides. The fifth dimension is an archetypal realm. Here is where the blueprints and plans for what's going on in our world come together. The sixth dimension is the realm of our God self. The seventh dimension is a spiritual entity called the monad, which has certain attributes such as maybe purity or hope. On the eighth and ninth dimension, we have the group souls that we are part of and the elements of those souls. The 10th dimension is the realm of the masters of light. These masters include Jesus, Buddha, Kuan Yin, many of the gods known throughout time are now masters of light. Or maybe were masters of light then, and that's how they became well known. These are beings who have completed their progression on the planet and are here to assist us in the work that we're doing now to evolve ourselves. On the 11th dimension is the realm of the archangels. And we have a couple archangels depicted here. Archangel Michael and Archangel Gabriel are two very well-known archangels. The 12th dimension is the realm of oneness of God, the creator gods that created this universe. So with our consciousness residing in a third and fourth dimensional realm, we're quite limited in our ability as gods. But understand that you are a 12-dimensional being and that you do exist on all these levels. And to master this reality is to become aware of all these different dimensional levels and learn to operate on them. So in this realm, we have come here from spirit, and this realm has been created by a myriad of various beings. And the angels hold a very important role in this realm. Everything that you see around you has angels involved in its manifestation. In cooperation with the elementals that hold the energies of earth, water, air, and fire, they create most of the reality we experience with our senses. So that as we walk through this realm, perceiving on a third and fourth dimensional level, we can see things that appear to be buildings, the ground beneath us, the air that we breathe. All these things are manifested by beings that are conscious and alive. Because this all that is, this grand creator that makes everything manifest, is conscious and alive. And there is nothing that exists that is not conscious and alive. We've lost our ability to work in the ways that these beings work. But understand that they are here creating this reality so that we can have our experience. In fact, from the time mankind came to this world, beings have been here creating this environment so that we may walk around ignorant of our spiritual nature and understand and grow back towards our own godliness, back towards our divinity. One group that has been here this whole time has been the Brotherhood and Sisterhood of Light. This is a fraternity, you might say, of beings that have gathered together for this purpose. Some of them are in the physical, having a body, walking the earth, and many of them are spiritual in nature. Many beings from this group include angels and masters of light. Here on the earth plane, in the third and fourth dimension, the beings that are part of this group are beings that have been initiated into this brotherhood and sisterhood through a long lineage of training and teaching of ancient mysteries. This takes place within the mystery schools of the planet. And there are actually 7 sacred mystery schools on the planet that initiate people into this lineage and teach them how to work with spirit, how to bring energies from spirit to the physical for the benefit of mankind, so that mankind can live and grow and have their experience on the planet. One of these mystery schools is open to the public. And this is the modern mystery school I mentioned earlier. Through my work with the modern mystery school, I've been initiated into this ancient lineage. And it is documented to go back over 3,000 years. But of course it goes back far beyond that, because these beings have been on the planet since the time man first came here, holding the energies for man to have their life and their experience. And within these ancient lineages are kept the secrets for the evolution of mankind. The secrets that can unlock your own empowerment and your own divinity within you. It was almost 3,000 years ago when King Solomon was the head of this mystery school. And King Solomon brought shamans and mystics from all over the planet. His goal was to find a way to evolve mankind to their highest potential. And what is that highest potential? That highest potential is to bring their full godliness into their physical body and walk as a god on the planet. Now, there are some famous people in history that came close to this. Our brother Jesus is the most famous example. And of course, Buddha did a wonderful job too. And there are many saints that also did amazing things. So these are people who evolved beyond what's normal and who manifested immense spiritual power here in the physical. But they are no different than us. We are all brothers and sisters, And we all have the same ability to manifest this divinity within us. It is our birthright and our destiny. So when King Solomon worked in his temple for almost 20 years, with these shamans and mystics that he brought from all over the planet, trying to find a way to evolve mankind to his highest potential, he came up with a process which we have been calling life activation. This life activation process is done through a covenant formed with the archangelic realm and uses a special crystal wand to activate the divine blueprint within the human. The process only takes about 15 minutes. The practitioner takes their wand and holds it to an area of the spine. And working down the spine, there are 12 spots that get activated. As they do this, an archangel comes down behind the practitioner and feeds light energy through the crystal wand on a very high dimensional level into your actual blueprint, or you might call it a spiritual DNA, for your manifestation. As the light flows into your blueprint, it flows into your life and activates your spiritual gifts and your abilities to a higher level. Now, King Solomon knew that there was 24 strands of the DNA that needed to be activated, 12 physical and 12 spiritual. And this process he developed was able to activate 22 of these 24 strands. But he could not activate the full divinity within the human, though he tried. So for 3,000 years, this 22-strand DNA activation, which we call the life activation because of the empowerment it brings to your life, has been done within the mystery schools. Now you come forward to modern times, and this grand celestial clock of the planets and the solar systems has come into a grand alignment, which creates an outpouring of spiritual energy upon the planet. It is the end of a grand cycle. And at this time, with this increase in spiritual energy, mankind has an opportunity to make a shift from our third and fourth dimensional consciousness to a level of a fifth dimensional consciousness. This is what has been talked about as the 1,000 years of peace on earth. It's been prophesied that a time would come of peace and harmony, what we might call Shambhala, where everyone is living in harmony with one another. And people, through their connection with spirit, become self-directed and naturally do what is best for their fellow man, without being controlled by the outside with laws and things that tell them what they should or should not do. It is a time of self-empowerment and beauty and love on the planet. This is what can happen if mankind moves into a fifth dimensional consciousness, and the war and starvation would come to an end. To do this requires an incredible amount of spiritual energy be integrated into mankind, both on an individual level and on a group consciousness level. This is the process that all spiritual seekers are moving towards. And it is a process of the full activation of their divine blueprint, their DNA. Now, prophecies all talk about the year 2012 and the end of times and Armageddon. And you can see out in society how things are getting worse. But at the same time, things are getting better. There are people expressing more love, more compassion for their fellow man, while others are expressing more anger, more war, and there's more famine. So everything is increasing, both good and bad, on the planet. And that is the nature of this increase of the spiritual life. And we all have a choice to align with the goodness or not. But the timing is short. It's only, at the time of this recording, just over 2 years till the year 2012. And though things don't end at this time, this is the most opportune moment for mankind to make this dimensional shift. This is the time when all the support of the spiritual realm is behind us in moving into a fifth dimensional consciousness of love and acceptance. And mankind is still living within the box that society has created for them. Not enough people have woken up and are reaching forth to claim their spiritual power. And so, for this time, this modern mystery school has been told to open its doors to the public. Though it has always been a closed, behind-the-scenes type of operation, the mystery school is now teaching publicly in 32 countries, bringing this technology for the evolution of mankind to the public. This 22-strand DNA activation, which we call the life activation, is now available all around the world. And the acceleration in the evolution that takes place from this activation will move people forward into their divinity in a way that can facilitate a very quick transformation of consciousness. And we can meet this deadline of ascending into a fifth dimensional consciousness in a short time frame. Another technology that has come forth just recently actually enables the full activation of your divine blueprint. This process was brought forth about 1997 when some spiritual beings contacted the head of the mystery school, Mr. Gudni Gunnarsson, and taught him a technology which can activate the full 24-strand divine blueprint within man. So what King Solomon was trying to do almost 3,000 years ago finally came to fruition. And I believe that it was able to happen now because mankind has evolved over the last 3,000 years. And the vibration on the planet has increased spiritually to the point where it can now support a person living in this manner, living in full connection with their spiritual being. So this 24-strand DNA activation process we have called the Adam Kadmon. This name has been around since ancient times. It was long prophesied that this Adam Kadmon would come, the full manifestation of divine man in the physical. And what this process actually enables is for each person who partakes of it to bring their full divinity within a physical body and walk the earth as their own God self, empowered in their life. This process is done in one of two ways. One uses a special wand, which is used to activate certain energy systems within your spiritual body and your soul. The other uses a grand arch. It's 10 feet tall, 10 feet wide. It's made out of 4 metals. And there's a special wand that points into the arch and sends energy into the arch, activating a multidimensional vortex field of light. And as you walk through the arch, it activates this 24-strand divine blueprint within you. Both of these technologies have been brought forth by the Mystery School at the request of the hierarchy of light, which includes the masters and the angels, to assist the evolution of mankind at this time. Without these tools, mankind would really have to step up their efforts to integrate the light that is necessary for this transition to take place. So these tools are available for you, for each individual, to assist you in your own path and your own spiritual growth. Be assured that this technology only activates your divine blueprint and brings forth the true nature of who you are and the best of who you are, and in no way changes you or makes you into something that you are not. So I would invite you to learn more about this work. Visit the Modern Mystery School website at www.modernmysteryschool.com, or our website here at the Crystal Temple, www.crystaltemple.org. Ask about the Adam-Kadmon process. Ask about the process of life activation. Ask about being initiated into the great universal brotherhood and sisterhood of light. Because these are the tools brought to you from God and the hierarchy of light for the evolution of mankind. They'll bring great things to your life as they did mine. So I thank you for listening to me today, and I hope you enjoyed our short broadcast.